So this is all in progress, but I want to show you where I'm currently at. So this is the main thing I've been working on recently, is this large electronics cabinet, and this is going to have all of the stuff for the CNC electronics inside it. So it simply opens up like so, and you can see we have all the necessary equipment. So we have main computer, the stepper controller, and then the VFD is here. And then we have some other the other cords and cables, and there's a custom box I made. And then up here on the console we have the mouse and keyboard screen, and the keyboard is actually screwed down because I don't want this going anywhere. And the monitor is also screwed down as well, so this whole thing can move and vibrate, and nothing's going to fall. This is super cool. So this is just a little control console. These three switches are going to have three very important functions, and this is also this fourth one here is the VFD. So these first two are going to control two blowers. So you can see how I have those two blowers there. One of those blowers is connected to the vacuum table, which is now currently mounted on the machine, and the other one is going to be connected to the dust collection, which is going to be right there. So this one will be connected to the dust collection here, and this one's input is connected to the suction bus down here. So very easily here, if I want to turn one of these blowers on, I can turn them on here from the console, and that way I don't need to use a stick to reach to the ceiling. And this third one is the spindle coolant. So this spindle here, which I made a video about previously, this is one of those 2.2 kilowatt three-phase spindles, and this one requires water cooling. And so this is the aquarium water cooler system, which conveniently goes right down there. So these are the tubes that feed with water all the way up through this new X chain right here, and then through the Y chain, and then to the spindle. Speaking of the spindle, so I haven't actually screwed it down or aligned it yet, but this is kind of the setup. So I got one of these boxes to help control the dust. This is going to work a lot better than my homebrew solution. This is where the three-phase power comes in, and then the cooling. So I redid all the chains, and redid what goes in the chains, and I also redid the zip ties. I haven't clipped them off yet because I haven't quite finalized it, but it's there. Same thing here, down here on the X chain. I redid this section because there was a tendency for these cables to get stuck in here, so that's redone. I've replaced all the belts. All these belts are now have Kevlar cores running through them, so it's going to prevent them from stretching or deforming over time. I also, because this assembly here on the spindle is so heavy, I had to add another constant force spring down here. It's not perfect. This is still a little too heavy. It probably needs another like 2 or 3 pounds, but this works for the moment. So the vacuum table, just take a little walk over here. 9 zones. So the vacuum table, it's constructed out of pegboard. So you can see here we have a baseboard. Let's see if we can get it to focus. There we go. So we have a 3/4 inch plywood baseboard, and then this is 1.5 inch pine, and then we have that pegboard right under there. And that pegboard is that's the key component to letting all the air through. This first layer here is spoil board. Second layer here is the actual part. So when I have stuff on top of it, but when this is turned on, this cannot be moved by hand. It is legitimately stuck to the table. Then you can see we have 9 zones here. So you can turn the zones on and off quite simply by doing this. And I can feed from either side if I want to. The goal here with the blowers is the blowers are going to be mounted up here on the ceiling, and they're actually going to blow out the window and down into a can, and it's going to collect all the waste dust and everything outside of the shop, so that way all of the dust doesn't stay inside of the shop. So also, just you can see at the back, there's holes poked in the back of the control console to let cables in and things like that. So the coolest part is that it works. So you hit reset, home all. So you can see here, works. Everything's nice and crisp. There's the Z. So that's super cool. And then let's talk about the VFD real quick. So this is the VFD switch. The VFD is powered by single phase 240, which comes from up there. Comes all the way down into the box. And it comes in through here. And then it comes into this box. Sorry. Comes into this box here, which I guess you can't really see very well. Yeah, so it goes into the electrical box, and it's mitigated by that switch on the top. And then it goes into the VFD, and then from the VFD it goes to the spindle. So to turn on the VFD, you flip the switch, and you give it a second, and it's alive. If you want it to run, click run. And now it's spinning. So is the coolant running? Yep, coolant is running. And it spins. So then when you want to turn the spindle off, just flip the switch. It turns off the VFD, turns off the spindle. You can hear the VFD turn off. So there you go. So this control box here, I have on each one of these switches has its own power. Right now, just for demo purposes, I have it hooked up to the main circuit here. But I'll probably, when I'm using this, get power from the house via just like a 100-foot extension cord, because each one of those blowers is around 7 amps at 120. So I don't have enough energy to run both of those and everything else in the same circuit. So those are just going to have to run from the house, and then the axis drives and the spindle can all run from power in the garage. So there you go. Next couple of days, this should all get 100% done. So all the bones and the main constructions here, it's just a matter of putting everything where it needs to go and getting it done. So have a great day, and talk to you soon.